everyone. In this video, we are going to see about what are the C functions that are available in the C programming language. Nowadays, we are looking on the basics of C program. Today, we are going to look on C programming functions. So, what do you mean by function? Yeah, function is a set of instruction that has been executed whenever we are executing our C program. So, for example, in our previous examples, we have seen that whenever we are running a program, we use two main concepts known as one is hash include, that is inclusion of the library files, and the another one is the inclusion of the main function. So here the main is also a function. Whenever we are going to execute a program, the program will look for a main function that has to be executed. So if you are running a program that has been without any main function, that will not give any output to your code. So what are the things that you are writing in the main function? These will be given as the output for your code. So the main function is the one that is very important in your content of your program. So actually what is function? So as I already said, it is a set of instructions that has to be executed based upon your necessary. So actually, the definition of C program that is given as a C function can be a multiple times that provide reusability and modularity. So while whenever you are going to create your program for a large scale integration, if you use your program as a function that can be used as a reusable program. So for example, whenever going you are going to check whether the given year is a leap year or not. So if you write it as a single program, that can be run only by you. But whenever going for a large scale usage in your program, so if you use it as a uh, function. So in the previous we have written how to writing a header file. So like that, if you are going to return a function as your program, in that function you can just only include the header file and you can use it for your any other purpose. In such ways, the functions that you have written by you will be more useful for the further usage. So this is one of the main use of a C function. In C we can divide a large program into a basic building blocks known as functions. So now you have a definition of what is a function. The function contains set of program statements enclosed within curly braces. So the functions will be written here. So what is the syntax of the function is uh, return type. So this return type means whenever you are going to call a function, it should return something or it can be written anything. So this is known as return type, followed by function. So this is the function that has to be used whenever we are calling that function. For example, whenever we are going to use the main function as it is, so it can be called any times. Uh, in that next you can pass any parameters. So these parameters are the one that can be used as a variables for that function. So in C program, uh, in C program there are two types of functions. One is the user defined programs and another one is predefined programs. These predefined programs are the examples of printf, scanf. These functions are the pre-built inbuilt functions that are available in C programs. So now what are the advantages of C functions? By using C functions we can avoid rewriting some concepts like there is no rewriting the same concepts again and again. We can also call function any number of times. That can be easy for us to save time in our large scale programming time. We can also track a large number of C program easily when it is divided into multiple programs. So whenever we are considering a single code, which is has to be a large scale, so whenever it is going to divide and it is used, whenever you are writing the code as a function, it is easier to merge all these ones until you can run your large scale programs. Reusability is the main achievement of the C functions. Now let's see about a function aspects. So function declaration, function cell, and function definition. So the C program consists of the three main parts. The three main parts are one is the function definition. So in this function definition, we just what we are going to tell the compiler that there is a function that it is going to do some operation with the function name. So this is the main concept of function definition. To simplify that, it contains the actual statements that are which are to be executed. So before all this, we have to declare the function. So function declaration. So in this function declaration, this is the one that is declared before using your function. So next one is as I already said, there are three main concepts. So whenever we are going to declare the function and define the functions will be created. So we have to use the function, right? So that we use function call. So how this work is, so whenever you are going to create a function like, so I have a create, I am having a function called square. So what is this going to do is, it is going to return me a square of a value, right? So square returns square. So this function is going to return the square value of the called function. So this statement is used to execute this function known as square. So this is known as function call. So we have to return a logic for this square, right? So this is known as function declaration. So we have to initialize that there is a function known as square, so that compiler can understand this is known as function declaration. So once the square function is called, it has to execute some of the programs, some of the instruction, right? So this is known as function definition. So now you get how the three states of function in C program is working. So let's see what are the types that can be used for a return type. So here you can see I just said that there is a return type known as return type and a function. So let's see what does the actual meaning. Um, so how to define a declare a function. So let's see with an example. Uh, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a function known as square that is going to get an input as a. So parameter as a. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to return a square number, right? So I'm getting a number known as a. That what I'm going to give is I'm going to return a type known as integer. So now what I'm going to do is int square of int space a. So here you can see I have declared a return type known as int, which means that whenever you are going to call a function known as square of some values, it is going to return a value that is of type int. So here you can see I am just written as return a multiplied by a. So here I am going to say that return a value now with the value as a multiplied a, which is going to return a value with the value type as integer. So this is a simple example of what is function definition. So now what we have to do is we have to declare that function, right? So function declaration, how it look is int space square of int. So sometimes you can also specify the variable. Sometimes you can, there is no need to specify the variable and followed by the semicolon. This is known as function declaration. So we all know that how to call that function. You can also call the function like int space square sqr equals to square of 12. So what this will do is it is going to call the function known as square, and the return value is going to be stored in the value known as sqr. So let's see an example of how this function works in the actual C program. So here what I'm going to do is I'm just going to a directory and I'm going to create a sample function dot c. So here we are going to create a function known as square method. So stdio dot h, which is a normal header file, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a main function. Here I am just going to print the square of 12. So now there is should be a present known as percentage d slash n for representation, and I'm going to tell the square. So now what I have to do is I have to initialize the square. So now what I'm going to do is in this space sqr is equals to, now I'm going to call the square function square square of 12. So now I just created a function call. So if I call that function, the computer have to look for the corresponding function that is already defined. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare the function known as sqr of int. So here you can see declare it as return type as integer and the square. Oh, sorry, I am just or here I have declared a function known as a square, and it is going to get an input as integer data type. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare the define the function int space square of int space a. So now what it is going to return is it is going to be written in type known as a multiplied by a multiplied by a semicolon. Here, uh, we can understand that this is function declaration and this is function call. This is function definition. So here you can see this is known as function declaration, and this is the function call, and this is the function definition. So let's execute it. So here here you can see that the square of 12 is 144. So we are getting correct answers. So now what we have to understand is there any necessary that a function should return something? So there is no constraint that always a function should always return a value. It can be there is no need to always compile the always return a value. There is no need. We can also return normally like return semicolon. So this is going to be of type null values. So there is no necessary that we have to always we have to give any return type to a function. So now you get an like what is the idea about how we are use function. So let's see arrays and pointer concepts. So the arrays and pointer concepts are the main ones that is whenever you are going for the interview questions. So arrays, the arrays are nothing but collection of similar data types. So whenever we want to store a continuous number of data in a continuous manner, we can use arrays. So the arrays are a simple concept. There are so many number of different data types that are available. So we can also learn it using data structures. So the data structure is a powerful concept that is used for anywhere in the data science concepts. So it is one of the main concepts and important concepts in nowadays. So let's see an example of how an array works. So the arrays are initialized with the variable like array of this symbol. This symbol is going to represent that the variable is going to be an array. So let's see now what they can say is uh, so as I was saying, it is going to store a continuous number of arrays. So first what we have to do is we have to initialize the memory space for that array. Um for example, you can say that if you are, as I already said, there is no continuous, there is no string in C program. For that, what we can use is, you can also use it like array of characters. This is known as continuous storage of your single characters. So you can also use it for a integer data type. So for integer data type, how you can do is, uh, int space ARR of 10. So what does 10 mean is that it is going to be of length of 10 numbers. So what this is having is it is having a garbage value containing values with the 10 arrays. So let us example like I'm going to initially it is a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here you can see I have created 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Here, now you can see it is created a array with the 10 values. So in array concept, the index starts with 0 and end with n minus 1. So here you can see as the array index starts with 0 and ends with n minus 1. So if we have to access the array in the 10th position, we have to pass it as 9 so that you will get an position of 10th value in your array known as ARR. So the arrays are used to store multiple values in a single variable. So whenever you are going to count a large number of numbers, so instead of saying A, B, C, D in different values, you can use it like A of 100 so that you can access a 100 variables using a single variable known as A. So now you have a clear idea about how this array is working. So there are also different methods that is used to um, store similar data types. It is the one of the simplest method that is used to for any entry level coding. So let's see an example of how this array is working. So one, now I'm going to create a known as AR array dot c here. Here what I'm going to do is hash include stdio dot int main of int space. Now I am going to declare an array known as ARR of 10 is equals to. So now what I'm going to do is they are initially initialized with known as initialized with curly braces. So now what I'm going to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here you can see I have initialized 10 values for that array. So how the index will understand is the index starts from 0 to 9. So now let's see how to access this uh, array. So now what I'm going to do is printf of array arr of 0. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to display the zeroth index of the array. So now what I'm going to do is ARR of 0. So for me, it should return the index value that is stored in the index 0. So let's run it. So it is compiled. Here you can see, and here you can see that the array AR of 0 is 1. So let's see in another example. Like, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the value in 9. So here, here you can see that. Oh, sorry, no, I am just forgot to change this one. Array of 10. Here, here you can see the array that is stored in the array of 10 is 10, but what we are actually doing is we are just passing it as n minus 1. So what if we try to access a value that is present in the out of that array? So here you can see we have declared it as array of 10. So it is going to initialize the value of array of 10 only. So what if we just access it as uh, array of 10? So let's see what it is happening. So it is compulsory, but here you can see the array of value as minus some garbage value, right? So what it is representing is, so in normally what the system will do is, it is whenever you are going to declare an array as ARR of 10, what it is going to do actually is, it is going to allocate the memory as continuously for 10 spaces. So whenever going to what you are going to do is uh wait a minute, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So whenever you are going to declare an array as array of 10, it is going to allocate a memory in the available resources as 10 memory spaces. So between this, the memory spaces will be allocated. So before the value, what you are having is some garbage values. After this array, you are also having the values as garbage values. That is what we have accessed here. We are having the garbages value of 77164 blah blah. So here you can see what happens if we access the array that is out of bound. This is known as out of bound. In some languages, it is also known as, in Java, it is also known as array out of bounds exception. So this is one of the major disadvantages in array. So whenever you are accessing it continuously, the arrays are stored continuously. It is one of the simple method, but also it has also some major disadvantages because the arrays are stored continuously. So it takes a large amount of pointer movement. So this is one of the considered as a major disadvantages in using arrays. But you can also store different types of data types as character. So let's see an example of how an array character works. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do as array char.c. So in array.char.c, what I'm going to do is a hash into stdio.h. So in this I'm going to write a main function int space main of. I have created a main. What I'm going to do is I'm going to declare an array as char arr of 5. Is this equals to I'm just going to make it as A B C D E. So now here you can see normally what we'll do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But here we are, since we are going to access a character, so we just put it in a single quotes. So you can also put it on a double quotes. So now let's see how we can access this array. It is normally simple what we have accessing is, so whatever we are going to, the index will start from 0 to n minus 1. So array value in ARR of 0. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to access the array value in the index sequence. So comma ARR of 0 semicolon slash n for a representation. So now what I'm going to do is GCC dot now. So here you can see we are getting the output as 65, which is the ASCII code for the representation of A. So let's see what we have done. So we just declared this as percentage D. Now we are going to declare it as percentage C, which is of a type integer. Now I am compiling it. Here you can see the array's index position 0 is containing the value A. Let's see an example of how we are accessing if we go out of bounds. If we since we have array declared this is array of 5, the arrays are containing only the values from 4. So what if I try to access the array that is positioned in the fifth position? So it is compiling successfully and it is going to declare make it as null value. Here you can understand, sorry, for the presentation, I haven't made any changes in the array of printing statement. So here you can see the array of fifth position. So now completed and we are going to get the null. So here you can see once whenever we are going to allocate a memory as array of 5, it is going to create an element from 0 to 4, not the more than spaces that we are asking. So this is also considered to be one of the basic disadvantages in array. So we will get only the required spaces that we have allocated. And the what are the basic disadvantages is whenever we are going to use an array, there is no compilation that we should always use all the memory spaces and all the memory spaces will always be used. There will be some memory spaces that will not always be used. So sometimes you can see there are some spaces that will not be used for over a long period of time. So the memory spaces will get wasted. So at some time there is a more number of required number of memory spaces. At that time you cannot increment the memory spaces. So once whenever you are going to declare a array, it is of fixed size. So it cannot be the size cannot be incremented, which is considered to be one of the major disadvantages in C arrays. So there are also some other concept that is used efficiently other than the array concept. We will look it on a further videos. So yeah, now you have get a clear idea about how actually the array concept is working. So let's see how we can traverse through all the arrays in a continuous manner. So for that, what we have to do is, since I already said, the arrays are continuously stored from the index 0 to n minus 1. So it is holding the value of, let's say, the index value is, index is, uh, let's see as this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9. So since there are 10 values and it is going to be the index values 0 to 9, so how we can access it? We can using a for loop, we can simply access all the variables that are stored in an array. So let's see how we can access it. So just I'm already going to use the older file that I have already used. So now what I'm going to do is I just access say a single value, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to initialize a for loop, so that what I'm going to do is I am just initializing a temporary variable known as I. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to declare a for loop where I'm going to say for I is equal to 0, for I less than 10, I plus plus. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print uh, array of percentage d colon percentage d slash n. This is just for representation. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print the I value and the array of I value. So here you can see what we have done is, so I'm going to print the correct array position and its array value. So let's see how this is executing. So here you can see we have accessed the array from array 0 to array 9, which is the index position, and the values are known as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up to 9. So here you can see how we can access this arrays continuously. So let's see an example of how we can access array characters. So the main concept of array of character is known as, so since we are not having a string as a data type in C programming, we should be able to get the input as an array of characters. Let's see how we can access it. For that example, I'm just going to uh, get an input from the user. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to display name of 5. So what it is going to do is it is just going to allocate a 5 memory allocated spaces. So now I'm going to get an input from the user that enter a name. So I'm getting the user. So I'm going to use a function known as scanner that will help me to get an input from the user. So here what we have to do is, so whenever we are using, yeah, no, sorry. So it is going to be a uh, going to a percentage, yes. So now what we are denoting is, so whenever we are going to use a get an input from the user, we will use a symbol known as ampersand. But whenever we are going to have an accessing a string or a character in C program, there should no ampersand whenever we are going to get an input. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to display the index position with its corresponding value. So for that, what I'm going to declare is I'm just going to declare a variable, and for I is equals to 0, I less than uh, so for this here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say the function that whenever it is the array of the position is not equals to null. So for that condition, what I have to tell you is, so whenever you are going to access a character, so it is of array of 5 with the like names like Cody. So if you are going to store the value of Cody in the array character, what it will consider is, it is going to consider it as Cody slash null. So here this is known as null. So whenever the program is going to identify the null value, it is going to be completely written. So once the compiler has identified the null, it is can identify that the statement is executed. So for that, what I am going to do is, for I is equal to 0, uh, name of I not equals to null, semicolon I plus plus. Here what I have done is, so while whenever we are accessing a number, we just represent it as a number. So whenever we are going to take an input, we can consider the inputs in as a null value. So whenever we are accessing it from the first position, and it is we are checking that the last index until the index is reduced as null value. So now what I'm going to do is printf array of percentage d colon percentage, sorry, percentage, yeah, percentage d colon percentage c comma. So what is the representation of percentages means, it is going to be a continuous value, right? So I'm going to represent it as percentages. So here we are just printing a single value, so I'm just going to represent it as percentage c. Now I'm just going to represent is the array and the array of, sorry, name of I. So yeah, so let's compile it. So it is compiling successfully, dot slash a dot, sorry. I can just, yeah, let's compile this program. So it is compiled. We are getting the input is asking, the terminal is asking for the input from the user. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the coding. So here you can see the array of 0 is containing the value of C, and the array of 1 is going to contain the value of O. Here you can see we are just declare a 5 variable, and we are giving the input as 5. So here you can see how it is actually working. So instead of we are going to displaying it as a different one, we can also declare the we can also print the statement in a single line. For that there is no need of print of statement. So what we have to do is just what yeah, here you can see instead of saying the array of percentage d, you can just simply note it as name percentage yes and comma name. So what it will do is it is identify whether there is a string array of character known as name. So whenever it is identified, the string name will be printed. So let's see how it is working. Sorry. It is compiled successfully. It is asking for a name. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give the name as Cody. Here you can see we have get the input as name is Cody. So this is an example of how the array concept and the array of and the array concept and the array how we are accessing it. So now you get a clarity about how the arrays are actually accessed and how the arrays are properly working. So let's summarize what we have learned today. So C programs, the C programs have the two main functions. One is the library function and the another one is the user defined function. The library functions are predefined functions that are having the business logic that are already defined by the pre-programmed developers. So the another one is the user defined program where you can build your own business logic and can develop it for your user programs. So these are having three main functions known as function declaration, function call, and a function definition. The function declaration is going to tell the compiler that there is going to be a user defined function known as function name. So it is of type return type function name and also followed by its parameters. The function call which is used to invoke the function that is going to execute the set of instruction. The function definition contains the set of instruction that is going to be executed whenever we are executing a function, whenever we are going to call a function. So the next topic what we have discussed is arrays. So the array concept is one of the important basic concept that is used to store continuous of similar data types. So the arrays are allocated memory in a continuous manner, which is going to be simple memory allocation. So you can also access the memory in a position of index values, which is starting from 0 to n minus 1. So this is a concept that we have already learned today. For further videos, you can also comment below. Thank you.